Okay, so let's restart this. Here's the game I'm working on. It works with a image classifier, an AI trained image classifier. We can train it on whatever shapes we want. We started just prototyping by training it on square, circle, and triangle, which were in the NVIDIA library that we found online for free. But eventually there'll be more complex shapes that the player draws and then like sort of casts magic on, and then that has some sort of effect. So, for example, I have 3 fruits over here, and say I want 4 fruits. I would draw a triangle shape. I think this rune is actually going to be something like a triangle shape because the property of a triangle are like lend itself well to this. But like I would draw this, say with one line in the center or something like that to indicate that I want to duplicate this fruit. Then I would drop it on the corner. Right now it's pretty sensitive. Okay, it worked. And now I have 2 fruits, right? These are not quite in the right place. They should be exactly at the corners, but I still have to work that out. Or like, and then I also have a configuration of it where like if you draw 2 lines in the center, it will combine the 2 things together rather than duplicating. Duplicating, so you have to load 2 things and combine them. Right now square is attract repel. Right now it's just set to attract. So we'll attract me here, and this might have fucked up the collider when I duplicated it, but like if I draw it on a wall, because it works on the normal, like the direction of the mesh of the wall, that also we need to fix, the lines changing. But Marcus is working on a new line renderer. So if I toss this up in the air, it should get sucked towards the wall. It may go through it. Okay, wait. It didn't hit the collider. The collider's, there it goes. I forgot I can just suck it right out of my hand. Should hold it there, but I haven't gotten to that part yet. Right now it just applies a force towards the wall. And then my favorite one, because it doesn't need multiple configurations or multiple images to be trained on it, is the circle, which will eventually be a spiral shape. If you draw a spiral, it will change the size of whatever's in the spiral to be that size. So I'll grow until I'm roughly the size of the spiral. If I want to shrink myself down, I can make another one. Can't tell where I'm standing because the camera does not realign itself when I grow. That also needs to be fixed. But like we have all this, the idea will be like, you'll wake up in a cave, you'll go out into the world, and you'll learn these runes. You'll have 1 page in a spell book, right, that gives you 1 rune and gives you a hint that like these other shapes you can draw could be found elsewhere in the world. And so like an early thing experience we want the player to have is like these birds evolved in this magic world, right? And they have these long tails behind them, tails that could also make a shape like this. So you'll be wandering around the environment and you'll see buffalo and this and that and yada yada. And then all of a sudden you'll see like a buffalo who's really tiny and you'll be like, what the fuck is that? And then if you're lucky, eventually you'll see that these birds are also subject to the same rules of the runes, and if they swoop around something, forming a smaller and smaller spiral trail, they'll cast that shrink spell on whatever their prey is, and then they'll make a tiny version of it and eat it, and then you'll be like, oh shit, I can draw that, and you draw it, and now you can make yourself bigger. Like I said, it's real rough and real early, but I think it has a lot of promise. And it's one of my favorite types of games, which is like, there is no real progression, just your knowledge of the systems of the game is the progression. The end.